today to do a podcast with the new master here at Haileybury, Mr. Detoy. Thank you for being with us this morning. And we're hoping to ask you a few questions and learn a bit more about you and your thoughts on the school.
Hello, sir.
How
are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's your time been here so far?
I've loved it. I've absolutely loved it. It's a wonderful school, and it's a wonderful community. So, the last 5 weeks or so have flown by, and it's been really, really wonderful. Yeah.
So we were wondering what kind of drew you to Haileybury in the first place?
So that there are personal and professional reasons. The professional reasons are it's a fantastic school. It's got incredible facilities and a great estate. It's got wonderful traditions and it's ambitious, it's purposeful. There are great partnerships locally and internationally. There's obvious affection for the school. All these things combine to make it a wonderful school to work in and to serve as master. And personally, it's nice to move back to the southeast. My wife and I both have friends and family here, and so it's nice to be closer to them.
Could I ask how you like the community here with the staff and the pupils?
It's a wonderful community, and actually that was one of my most critical considerations when exploring the possibility of coming to Haileybury. When I was being interviewed, obviously governors were looking at me as a possible master of Haileybury, but I was very much also examining the school and the atmosphere and the culture of the school. And one of the things that matters most to me is the sense of community within a school, because ultimately I believe that that's what a school is. It's a community. And if you get that right, and there's a strong sense of community, then everything can sort of work well from there. So I think the sense of community at Haileybury is wonderful and one of its strongest features.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you aim to keep that community, sir, going forward?
I think that it's deeply embedded in the culture, and so it's about maintaining the respect we have for that element of our culture. Talking about it, amplifying it, recognizing it, making sure that expectations of every member of the community are clear as to what contributes to a strong community. So I speak a lot of basic universal values, being kind to one another and being empathetic towards each other, being inclusive, and having a strong sense of fair play. And I think we just keep reminding ourselves of the importance of those, and in reinforcing those values, then community flows from there. So that's how I intend to make sure that community stays at the heart of Haileybury.
And you briefly touched on traditions. What's been your favourite tradition of Haileybury so far?
Well, I'm still learning the traditions. I know not to walk on the grass, that I know. And I am getting used to all the different terms for different parts of the school, terrace and grubber and pavilion and low, all these terms. So I'm enjoying that very much, and hopefully I haven't put a foot wrong yet, and hopefully I won't. But I think beyond those lovely traditions that are particular to Haileybury, I think that the tradition that I'm really enjoying the most are that sense of ambition. I think Haileybury strives, and there's a real sense of purpose and ambition around the place. So that for me is really good and important. I think Haileybury is very comfortable and confident with wanting to be excellent. And again, I like that. That was very attractive to me when I was looking at the school. So a real sense of purpose, a real sense of ambition, a mindset that pursues excellence, underpinned by a strong sense of community. Because those are the traditions that I think will outlast everything.
Yeah, I definitely agree. In terms of Haileybury itself, I've always thought that our co-curricular life is quite unique, just because of the amount of opportunities. How important do you think it is to have a co-curricular life at this school?
So for me, it's fundamental to the notion of education. Working hard in the classroom is a given, and being intellectually curious and academically rigorous are, obvious parts of the DNA of the school, and that will be, as long as I master that's a given. And I know what that looks like. I mean, all three schools that I've worked in have been academically ambitious, but St Paul's is known for being really academically ambitious. So I know what that means, and that's important to me. But all three schools that I have worked in have valued a wide, holistic approach to education. So what we do outside the classroom creates a sense of joy, gives young people a chance to explore, to have fun, to take part in team sports or individual. And actually the learning that you see in those activities stands you in good stead for the rest of your life. So how to win and how to lose, how to work well with other people, how to be resilient and determined, how to bounce back from disappointment. So whether it's music or sport or drama or CCF or DAV, whatever it might be, the co-curricular life of the school is absolutely critical to, I think, an all-round education, which I believe in.
Are there any sort of large-scale projects that you're working towards or that you have ideas for in the next few years for the school?
I have lots of ideas, and I shared those with governors during the process of my appointment. But right now, I'm going to keep those close to my chest because I want to hear what the community thinks. So we, as you know, we have launched a review where pupils are going to get their say in what they think Haileybury should look like in 5 years' time. Common Room colleagues are going to have their say as well, and then we're also working with an external consultant who's going to talk to parents and former pupils and feeder schools and international agents, say what do they think, and then we're going to put all that together, and then I'll present to governors at the end of next term a 5-year plan that governors can then review and scrutinise and interrogate, and then over the summer term we'll come up with a final version of the 5-year plan for Haileybury, and then people will know. So until then, I'm going to keep my cards close to my chest.
Sorry, I was going to ask, how do you think that the CPs can help to sort of lead the school and help to sort of instate those new ideas and new plans for the school?
For me, the college prefects have a critical role to play. Staff, senior leaders, obviously have a job to do, but pupil voice and pupil leadership and pupil initiative is critical. So what the college prefects do is immensely important to the life of the school. The example you set, the tone you set, the work you do, is absolutely vital. So I think the partnership between college prefects and senior leaders is fundamental to the school functioning as it needs to function.
You mentioned leadership there. What type of leader would you say you are?
So I think leadership has to be situational, depending on what is needed. You adapt to your leadership style to what's in front of you. But as a default setting, I want to be a leader, and I work hard to be a leader that empowers those around me. So we need clear goals and objectives, absolutely. But then I believe in trusting my team, empowering my team, and supporting them. So giving them autonomy to do their job. I've got a job to do, and it's a big job, and they've all got jobs to do, and I'm not here to do their job. I trust them, I empower them, give them autonomy, and then together we get things done. So I hope I'm a leader that creates a culture where people feel confident to do their work, and that they enjoy doing so.
Kind of building on that, how important do you think pupil leadership is, and do you think it's important that pupils learn leadership actively?
Yeah, I think pupils learning about leadership is really important. We're all leaders at different times and in different contexts. When you decide which restaurant to go to on a Saturday night, when you decide where to go on holiday, when you decide in a group to do anything, leadership skills come to play. So whether you are a youngster or your age as you start to enter adulthood, or whether you're my age, we all have to lead at different times of our lives. So understanding leadership, what it is, but also what it is not, I think is really important to success. So I think it is something that giving opportunities to young people to learn about leadership and to learn about themselves is important, absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree.
And just to build on that, what do you think actually helps the pupils at Haileybury learn how to thrive here and support them in the best way?
I think that it's the range of opportunities, one thing. So there are also opportunities for you to get involved inside the classroom, sort of that learning environment, but also outside the classroom in that learning environment. So in taking advantage of those opportunities, you're growing, you're challenging yourselves, you're making mistakes, you're failing, all in the best way. And it's through those mistakes, through not getting it right the first time, through having to be resilient, through finding joy in what you do, that you grow and you feel a sense of self and you feel a sense of achievement, which is wonderful. So those opportunities are critical. And then I think that we work to high standards and have high expectations means that there's a sense that at Haileybury, it's okay to work hard. It's okay to want to do your best. It's okay to be the best you want to be. And so I think that's a pretty potent combination. Lots of opportunities, lots of encouragement, and the opportunities to fly as high as you want. And that then becomes quite a virtuous cycle where success breeds success. And that I think is good.
And so how do you think well-being ties into that and the well-being of the school and each individual pupil?
That's a topic that's very dear to me, very close to my heart. So I've done quite a bit of studies and done a couple of postgrads and research things, and I think that well-being is something that can sometimes be forgotten in the busyness of life, in the to-do lists, in the ambition, in the sense of striving. Sometimes we forget to look after ourselves, and that's not a good thing to do. And giving ourselves time to understand how we're feeling, how we're doing, check in with ourselves, and have friends and family who can check in as well is fundamental. So we know that amongst younger people and older people, but around the world we see more anxiety, we see more stress. So for me, I want to know why is that? What's going on? And what can we do to support young people? So questions that I ask is, are we giving enough time to young people to just stop and rest, catch breath, right? So that's a question. Are we giving young people enough opportunity to walk bare feet in nature, literally and figuratively, to be out in nature, to learn from and with nature? That's important. Are we giving young people enough time to reflect on their own individual humanity and our shared humanity and what makes humanity such a beautiful thing? So these are the sort of questions that I'm asking myself, but it's really important that we all feel strong in ourselves. And when we don't, because there will be times when we don't, how do we help ourselves, but also how do we look after one another? And that's that sense of community that we spoke about earlier on. We look after each other and we see the best in each other, then everything becomes possible. And then we can fly as high as we like.
So you've got a daughter in lower school. How do you think that lower school sets up pupils for main school and then for life in general?
So I really like the idea of lower school being a school within a school. So Haileybury's big, right? It's wonderful. It's an amazing campus. But for a young person, I reckon that could be quite daunting. You know, the first time you walk in and you see these huge buildings and these huge fields. So I think it's great that we have a school within a school where youngsters can settle in, find their feet, get used to the rhythms of the school, the size of it, where everything is. So I like the idea of a school within a school. And it's really important to remember that these are 11-year-olds, right? They're still very, very young. So we've got to support them and work with them and make them feel really at home and really wrap around them and look after them so that they grow strong.
Do you think through providing the lower school, it helps with the transition of them moving into main school as a pupil?
Definitely, without a doubt. I think that safe base that they can go back to and learn is paramount to then making that transition to the bigger environment, the pace, the faster pace. I think it plays a really important role, absolutely. So it's maybe a bit like they're growing in a smaller nursery, and then they put into the bigger open space. And we want them to be strong when we replant them, in a sense. You know, when we give them a new environment, with their strong roots, and to feel really confident, and then they can enjoy it.
And so, how do you think that we can ensure that the lower school are involved in everything that happens with the school?
It is important to me that the lower school feels very much involved and a part of the whole school community, albeit that they're a school within a school. So there are going to be some things that they do on their own, and that's fine, and that's great. But at the same time, how do we make sure that they feel part of this family, really do feel part of this family? That's important to me. So I'd love to hear people's views on that and people's opinions, and I'm making observations, but that's really important that everyone feels part of this amazing school and feels deeply linked to it. So let's have that conversation.
I've always thought that times when the school comes together is a nice time for everyone to integrate, including the lower school. So events like chapel lists or house music and things like that. Do you have a favourite coming together place or event for the school at the moment?
I love chapel. I think it's a wonderful space, and it's beautiful, and the singing and the music, it's a beautiful time. I love chapel. Lists is a great way to celebrate what we've done and to give pupils a chance to share their achievements and to talk about things that are close to their heart. So I don't really have a favourite, but I just like the idea of coming together. So yeah, that for me is one of the highlights of my week, is when we all gather and come together. That's important to me.
Do you love congas, which is, for reference, a singing practice on Friday? Do you like that?
I do. I just feel sorry for the people who are around me, because I think I'd classify myself as an enthusiastic singer, but not necessarily the most technically accurate. But I think it's wonderful, and I think it's handled so brilliantly by our director of music. He's fantastic, and makes it fun, but also helps us to sing better. So yeah, I like congas a lot.
As we're all boarders here today, we're quite interested on your opinions on boarding and how that potentially helps with the transition of then going from this school to somewhere like university or a more intense environment, perhaps.
Well, I was a boarder at school, and I loved it. I had a great time, made my best friends in boarding environments. So, and 2 of the 3 schools that I worked in have been boarding, had boarding in them. And so I think boarding is a wonderful model, and it creates such a sense of camaraderie. It creates a real home from home, and it's something that I think is wonderful. So I look forward to supporting boarding at Haileybury. I've been visiting houses, and I've got a few more to do, but it's been wonderful to walk around the houses and to see how proud each house is of their home, and that's something that I really think is important. And in terms of preparing young people for next steps, it's invaluable. You know, it creates a sense of independence, initiative, resilience, learning how to get along with other people, and make your way. So I think boarding is fantastic, and it's fun. And fun is important at school. It's important to have fun at school. So that's great.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vittori, for answering our questions this morning. And I think we've all learned a bit more about your thoughts on the school and your vision for the school moving forward. So thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you.